And how's everybody doing? We are back again. And the reason why I'm doing this is one, didn't want to talk for 2 hours straight and have to upload that. But two, this is quite a different topic. So for those of you that, and let me pop up here. For those of you that have followed me for many, many, many years, this channel's name used to be Every Damn Day Fitness. If you're watching it on YouTube, you're not watching this on Twitter right now because I'm blocked on Twitter unless you're following my backup Twitter. But for those of you that have been here for a long time, thank you for staying. For many of you that have just joined recently, did not even know that this channel's name used to be called Every Damn Day Fitness. I was once a big fat powerlifter guy who basically did comedy roasts, right? But I did have, and I do have, a history, work history of working in the healthcare industry as an executive. I've helped write policy, including outbreak policies. And the last 3 years have been rather frustrating. It was frustrating before that because people just keep getting fatter and fatter and fatter and ignoring it. And we were telling these people that it's perfectly fine, which is a horrible societal thing to do. It is horrible for society to tell fat people that they're not in danger. It is abjectly very mean, very dangerous. And 3 years ago, we had an event that changed the entirety of our planet. And we had the Chinese government release a virus. It's pretty well known that even though it was considered conspiracy theory back then, that this virus is from a lab. The United States did help fund it, in case that's new to you. And it got released. It is a cold. It is less deadly than the seasonal flu to most people. And we decided to destroy all of society anyway. And for the last 3 years, I have received death threats. I have been told that I wanted to just see old and fat people die, even though I've dedicated my life to helping people lead longer, happier, healthier lives. And people said I didn't know what I was talking about or anything like that. I am going to run you through my statements from 3 years ago on my Twitter. Later on this week, we will likely be going back to an old live I shot with the Swolfessor. Me and him were doing lives talking about the data that existed at the time and how I predicted even everything from social unrest to supply chain issues and things like that, because I stood back, used my logical, critical thinking brain, and saw what was happening and read all the data. All right, I'm going to remove the brands from this, and I will just remember next time to not. I'll probably have a different sign thingy up there. It'll probably be something like Make America Healthy Again and some other stuff. Getting ready for my workout after I'm done talking to you folks. But if you are not following me, I'm blocked right now from posting, but if you're not following me on Twitter, please do. It is right here, the MFing COO. This is also where you can follow me on Instagram. For right now, Instagram, I really believe will eventually delete me. This is my 4th Instagram account. I'm on 10 accounts for TikTok, I believe. And I've had Facebook is being horrible to me. I don't even post there anymore. And YouTube has deleted one of my channels, and this channel obviously has been trashed. But you will be able to watch this in its entirety on replay on Spotify. Alan Roberts Uncensored is my podcast on Spotify. Please go follow it if you are not already. Alan Roberts Uncensored is my Spotify podcast name. And it is just so I will send the link for everybody. I am posting. We are getting it caught up today. We just got monetized on it, so we're getting caught up today. Great video on needing a lawyer. Thank you. I mean it. We need to absolutely do that. But there's the link for Uncensored. I do want to just put this out here too, even though because these are obviously my goods and services. If you want to join the Uncensored group to talk about stuff just like this, please do. You get to use the app, track your nutrition, track your exercise, and get to talk about things such as this, where I come up with ideas for these videos, the non-fitness necessarily related videos. However, I am going to point out to everybody, this has been about public health for the last 3 years. It is public health. This is, in fact, my lane. I had so many people at the beginning of this pandemic tell me to stay in my lane. Public health is, in fact, my lane. 100% of the time. Public health is, in fact, my lane. And obesity, the obese epidemic, is, in fact, about public health. And if you do not believe me that it is in fact about public health, I would encourage you to watch this video.
The world actually contracts the disease, what happens to it? Does it go away on its own? What happens if everybody?
No. Well, if everyone contracted it, even with the relatively high percentage of people who are without symptoms, Matthew, a lot of people are going to die.
Yeah.
Because even though, and this is the big misperception that causes so much difficulty in messaging to young people, is that people who are elderly and people at any age who have an underlying condition, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, heart disease. If you look at the United States of America with our epidemic of obesity, as it were, with the number of people with hypertension, with the number of people with diabetes, if everyone got infected, the death toll would be enormous and totally unacceptable. And that's the reason why we are against saying, let it fly, let everybody get infected and we'll be fine. That's a bad idea.
And that's a reason, is that also a reason why particularly America, as America, we're saying that? Because we have such high rates in those susceptible people.
Well, absolutely. I mean, if you look at just people who are obese with diabetes and hypertension, you're talking about, a substantial proportion of the population.
Yeah. Yep.
So, in case you're wondering how sickly people are, the obesity epidemic is what is a listed reason of why our public health officials wanted to lock everything down. We didn't try to make anybody healthier. In fact, we're less healthy 3 years from now. Like, how can it not be looked at that public health officials have abjectly failed? They have been in charge of our public health for decades, and yet right now we are so sickly that a new cold that most people do not even know they would have unless they tested for it is a danger to society. And in their standard, it's a danger to have so many people that they have in fact failed. Like, public health officials have failed public health so poorly that we are now so sickly that we need to close for a cold that, in fact, the American government helped fund. Great. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to, in fact, go to, this is my Twitter. Boom! Check it out. And hey, what's up, Mark? Just so we can see, I'm going to go to search, and then I'm going to go to, I'll just search anything. I'll search New York City. And then what you do is you go to advanced search. So I'm walking you through how to do this. I'm not going to do any words. I am just going to do from my account, from these accounts, we're going to do at the MFing COO. And then we're going to do dates. So we're going to do from March 14th of 2020 to April 15th of 2020. Search. Latest. This is just the first month. So we're going to scroll back to what I said about it first, and then we're going to talk. I told you so. All of you. Everybody. If you listened, great. If you didn't, you're stupid. I believe that. Have a good day. Let's see here. Oh, look at all the evidence and charts and data and so much stuff. Crazy, right? Okay, so taking care of your health in stressful times. That video things I wrote 3 years ago. Okay. We're going to scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Oh, look. Oh, look. March 2020. We're going to go to this one because on March of 20th of 2020, for those of you that can't see that here. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. There we go. We're going to actually move this over just a little bit to see if it. There it is. There it is. We can make it all the way big. Okay. So this is Alan Roberts. I can lower this down now a little bit to fit everything in here. Okay. So this is me right here. And I said, because update, full peer-reviewed study has been released by Dieter Root, MD, PhD on Google Drives. After 6 days, 100% of patients treated with HCQ and azithromycin were virologically cured. 100%. On March 18th of 2020, we knew that hydroxychloroquine, in fact, with azithromycin was as an early treatment, cured this virus. It is peer-reviewed. This was ignored. Google has literally tried to scrub this. Except, why won't this work? Okay, here we go. My mouse wasn't working for a second. No, thank you. That is up there, by the way. And if anybody wants to look at it, there it is. Go to it. Because it is up there. Hydroxychloroquine is administered as a treatment of COVID-19 resulted in an open-labeled, non-randomized clinical trial. It is a non-randomized clinical trial that shows that we should have never, ever, ever done anything except for issue this out. Okay, so I shared that. And then we are going to look at the more you know, those most at risk of COVID-19 when is hospitalization necessary. This clearly states that the age group seeing the most COVID positive tests is between 40 and 50 years old. That's just the most positive tests. Who cares if you get it? It's a matter of whether you're going to need hospitalized. The outcomes only get worse as individuals age. For example, people who are 80 years old or who have a 50% mortality rate when they get infected. You can also be vulnerable if you have a health condition. Dr. Liz says obesity can cause lots of problems for patients. This is, I'm not joking. This is literally, I mean, you guys can read this for yourselves. Send that on out there. That comes from that article, just so you guys know. Let's scroll back up. Dear Fat Acceptance Movement, time to grow up. You guys can check this video out. It is, we can watch it right now. Fat Acceptance Community. Look how fat I am still. You gotta be so good that they can't ignore. Okay, we're gonna skip that. Well, what could used to be the price for Dunkin' Donuts cup of coffee, I have no idea. Now it could have jacked up to 3 times the price. But anyway, we are also offering live yoga classes for free just for the YouTube members and our clients and the members of my wife's brand. But to the video that's going to upset a lot of people, and I don't fucking care. Fat Acceptance Community, it's time for you motherfuckers to grow up. Just let's be real. We are in the throes of a global pandemic. You've probably seen it on the news. And it is very clear from all the data that's being collected and put out that the people most at risk for this of dying of this virus are the very old, the elderly, and the immunocompromised people that have. This is on March 22nd of 2020. Not only have I said this very same motherfucking thing for 3 years, I am 100% correct. Correct.
Heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, and cardiorespiratory issues. So for instance, if you have a hard time walking up a flight of stairs without getting winded and you get the COVID-19 virus, you could be in very big trouble. You really, really could. The COVID-19 virus does not target obese people. You are not more likely to get it than other people. However, you are very much more likely to have a very, very, very serious time.
You're also going to spread it long and at higher concentrations. Obese people are super spreaders. Our public health officials were not serious about this virus at all whatsoever. If they were serious about this virus, they would have had people lose weight. I mean, if they really wanted to save lives, they would have had people lose weight.
If you get it. For most of the people that get this virus, according to all the information that's out, it is asymptomatic, no symptoms.
Whoops.
Very big trouble. You really, really could. The COVID-19 virus does not target obese people. You are not more likely to get it than other people. However, information that's out, it is asymptomatic, no symptoms at all, or you get like a common cold and you just kind of get over it, right? Very, very mild symptoms. But if you do have high blood pressure, which most obese.
And by the way, I'm going to remind you at the very beginning of this, I played Fauci saying that it was the obesity epidemic. Fauci says I'm right. Fauci says I'm right. FYI.
People do, especially morbidly obese people do. If you have diabetes, which many people that are not morbidly obese do have diabetes, but there is an 80% prevalence of people that do have diabetes that are obese. Just very, very clear. Mm-hmm. If you have hypertension, high blood pressure, or if you have a hard time walking up a flight of stairs, as I said, without getting winded, you could be in very serious trouble. A flight of stairs, if you can't go up a flight of stairs without getting winded, if you're 400 pounds, I'd like to see a video to make sure you don't. You could be in very, very serious trouble of dying if you catch this. So please do, and I mean this, please do take care of yourselves. Please do put yourself in a social distancing situation. Please do take as good care of yourself as possible. Mm-hmm. But when we get through this as a people, and I really do feel that we will, and I really do hope we will get through this as a people, please do, if you're in the fat acceptance community and you keep saying, well, it's okay that I'm 400 pounds. I love myself. Please do understand that this should be a wake-up call for you. This should be an absolute wake-up call that tells you that you need to take your health seriously.
Yep.
This should be an absolute wake-up call that tells you you need to get your eating disorder in check.
And it wasn't. Nobody did. Nobody did. Like they instead told you it was okay to be fat. Like that's where society went to. It's crazy. Here, by the way, is where I gave away, Crystal and I gave away 30,000 free programs to try to help people be healthy at the beginning of the pandemic. 30,000 free at-home workout programs. 30,000. This is me saying, dear social media, stop giving a shit about whether somebody from the NBA or something like that gets COVID because they're not even at risk. Let's see here. A new social contract. You owe health to everyone. Again, we closed down to protect immunocompromised people. How do they not owe health to everybody? This is what I was saying at the beginning. If we are going to close this country down because you are so fat that it is dangerous for you, unfucking fatten yourself. Let's see. In this extended interview, Dr. John Ioannidis of Stanford University cautions that we do not have reliable data to make long-term decisions about COVID-19 and that an extended lockdown might have far graver effects than the disease itself. That video, by the way, was removed from YouTube because it's said that the COVID virus wasn't super deadly. Crazy. This is a conversation with the Swolefessor. We will probably be going over this video at some point in time later on this week because gems, tons of gems. This is a good one. Let's see. 800,000 doctors to Trump. Heed experts' warning and end dangerous campaign against social distancing. A council representing more than 800,000 doctors in the U.S. signed a letter Friday imploring President Trump to reverse his call for businesses to reopen by Friday, warning that the president's flouting of the guidance of public health experts could jeopardize the health of millions of Americans and throw hospitals into even more chaos. You really think that 800,000 doctors actually signed this? Like, we got 800,000 doctors together to sign a document stating to stay inside. It was a lie, all of it. Let's see, we're going to scroll up to see some original stuff, not just me responding back to people. That's Jamila Jamil. This one's a good one. Everyone ready for the media to start talking nearly entirely about the things that happened because of the lockdowns instead of the lockdowns. Look where we're at. Let's see here.
The flu, but substantially less lethal than the flu. If that suspicion is confirmed, suspicion that it's not more lethal than the flu, but substantially less lethal than the flu, if that suspicion is confirmed, what should we begin to do differently?
Well, I think the universal quarantine, essentially that's what we have, is incredibly costly.
Yep.
Costly to, and people have characterized as costly to the economy, and you get accused of being crass because you're comparing dollars with people's lives, right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm actually kind of sympathetic to that, but actually, it's not just dollars to lives. It's lives to lives.
Yep.
Right. A global economic collapse will cost lives of I believe, millions of people.
Absolutely.
And not just in the United States.
Oh, look. New York City data from April 3rd. Let's pop this up, shall we? Oh, look. According to New York City on April 2nd, almost no people with underlying conditions had passed away. Almost none. This is a huge age range right here. And by the way, later on, when you kept looking at these data, they actually revised these numbers to make them less. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. Society should not have been closed down for this. Oh, look, this is from the 3rd. Again, underlying conditions. Oh, look, more underlying conditions. Every single day, more underlying conditions. Google launching a tool that will publicly track people's movements, allowing health officials to check whether their communities are abiding by social distancing measures, as if they should be able to tell us where we go, what we do, who we converse with. Insane to think that this is look, 1984, exactly. It's unreal. By the way, so deaths can be counted as COVID deaths even without testing the person. They literally, just so you guys can see, should COVID-19 be reported on a death certificate only with a confirmed test? This openly states COVID-19 should be reported on a death certificate for all decedents where the disease caused or is assumed to have caused or contribute to death. Certifiers should include as much detail as possible. When probable COVID-19 is indicated on a death certificate, they will consider they're going to be considered COVID deaths. It's whether the person, like, they don't even need to test it to find out. It's insane. It was absolutely total insanity. That's when they started mixing up the difference between the words with and of. Oh, this is a good one. This is from Dr. Anthony Fauci, by the way. On the basis of case definition requiring a diagnosis of pneumonia, the currently reported case fatality rate is approximately 2%. In other articles in the journal, report mortality at 1.4 among 1,099 patients with laboratory confirmed COVID-19. These patients had a wide spectrum of disease severity. If one assumes that the number of asymptomatic or minimally symptomatic cases is several times as high as the number of reported cases, the case fatality rate may be considerably less than 1%. This suggests the overall clinical consequence of COVID-19 may ultimately be more akin to those of a severe seasonal influenza, which has a case fatality rate of approximately 0.1, or a pandemic influenza, which which we did have, by the way, in SARS and MERS, which can be a 9 to 10%. So SARS and MERS we went through was 9 to 10% fatality. They predicted, Anthony Fauci predicted, and this is dated on March 28th of 2020, that this was a seasonal flu, that it was likely 0.1% case fatality rate, and we still closed everything anyway. This is the problem, that we knew this wasn't super deadly and we closed the world anyway. Anyway. I was telling people this the entire time for the last 3 years, and people do not need to like this. You do not need to like it. But for 3 years, I was right. We were robbed of 3 years of our lives, period. And they set it up where they could do it easily again because they just got people fatter. And that is the excuse that they are using. Again, Anthony Fauci openly stated to Matthew McConaughey, words I never thought I'd say, that the level of obesity is one of the reasons why we closed the planet down. They robbed from us. They robbed from us. They should be held accountable, and we should absolutely take back what's ours. I love watching the Scott Adams apology. I haven't seen it. Why would I pay attention? I don't pay attention to stupid people anymore. And Scott Adams is a stupid person. He's stupid. He's a moron. He can play fake intellectual all he wants and use as many try to like logic things as he can. He's dumb as a fucking motherfucker. Scott Adams is stupid as fuck. Anybody that took the vaccine so they could travel, the risks were worth it. You're a dumb motherfucker. And anybody that took COVID serious, I'm sorry, taking COVID seriously enough that you think you should inject an experimental therapy produced in a fraction of the time it would normally take to produce these therapies historically, with no long-term data, with no long-term testing, of data that they tried to keep from you for 75 years, that we had to Freedom of Information Act away from them, from our own government. We had the Freedom of Information Act from the FDA. The FDA should release this information immediately to the people. They work for us, supposedly. They don't, but they should. So you take an experimental gene therapy produced by historically corrupt companies and historically corrupt industries in a fraction of a time normally needed to produce something safely, with no safety data to even find out if it's safe, over a cold. And by the way, these companies that produce this, that are historically corrupt in a historically corrupt industry, with no safety data, no safety long-term data at all, longer than a couple months. Oh yeah, by the way, they have liability protection. You've got to be stupid. Get there faster. Don't trust them ever again. It's crazy. All right, so let's talk about it. Do they have tests for it? Stanford University says the test shows influenza A or B. There's that, but also like the testing we were doing, the PCR test is not meant to do this. The PCR test ramped up to 40 plus cycles. I mean, the false positive was going to keep people closed. They were trying to imprison us. The government was trying to enslave the people. Get there, 100%. get there. Many states in the federal government. Absolutely. It's a crime against humanity. It absolutely is. Yep. Scott Adams and his sugar baby problems. Scott Adams blocked me. Sad. I gave up on a trip with my husband because I refused to take it. That's disgustingly sad. I feel bad for you. I really do. I was legit an outcast for 2 years because I didn't want to take it. Got shunned from friends and family, still waiting on the nurses in the group to apologize. Sad. It's patheticness. Anyway, any last questions, guys? I wanted to go over this. I'm going to keep I'm going to keep them shorter, probably within like 35 to 50 minute long from now on. But I'm going to go. I got videos I got to edit. I got all sorts of shit I got to do. So I hope all of you have a fabulous day. God damn.